everyone, welcome back to a new vlog. I hope you're all doing really well. It's Sunday today and I thought we could spend a lovely cozy Sunday together. I do have to admit, I was supposed to be vlogging come antiques shopping with me, and we went this morning to the Detling Antiques Fair, and honestly it was a big fat fail. There wasn't anything there that was on my list. And I've got quite a big list of things that I want to get, mainly stuff for the office, like artwork and a big console table, silver tray, so many bits that I have on my list. And sometimes I think when you go to these places and you've got quite specific things in mind, it's quite likely that they're not going to have it. And unfortunately, we weren't able to get there yesterday. And I do think you need to be like the first one there on the first day, because it's now the second day and a lot of the stands weren't there. I went a couple of months ago and it was absolutely packed. There were so many stands, there was so much stuff. I could have bought loads of things, and stupid me didn't bring any cash, so it was a bit of a fail. And this morning there just wasn't really anything that I had my eye on. There wasn't anything that I really wanted to get, and that is just the way that it goes sometimes. So yeah, that kind of failed. But anyway, it's not the end of the world. We're gonna have a nice cozy Sunday. Also, before we begin the vlog, my videos are going to be a little bit strange over the next week. I've got a couple of videos scheduled and everything's a little bit all over the place. The timeline is a bit strange. So I just want to keep you up to date, keep you in the loop. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably will see that I've been sharing little bits about skiing, because when you're watching this, we will be skiing. But today is one of those days where I have loads of boring jobs to do, and usually I wouldn't vlog those because I just think, who wants to watch it? But throughout this month I have been loving watching people clean their house, do all of the boring jobs, and we all do those kind of things. So for me, I find it really interesting to watch, and I'm kind of in like before we get on with today, I wanted to chat books, because I mentioned this on my Instagram yesterday and had so many DMs about this book. I thought it was quite a random one, but I think most of the time I live under a rock. This is Murder on Lake Garda by Tom Hindle, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I really struggled with this at the beginning. I think I mentioned this in a vlog months ago when I first bought it, and I read up to chapter 8. I think I read about this much, and I just couldn't get into it. I put it down and I left it for months, and every time I'd try and read it, I'd end up falling asleep or just not engaging. I actually ordered a couple of new books the other day, and I thought I need to finish this because I hate not finishing a book, especially when it's a topic or a story that I know that I would really enjoy. Murder mysteries are my favourite type of things to read, so I forced myself to get back into this on Friday, and I finished it last night, and I absolutely loved it. I don't know why I couldn't get into it at the beginning. I think it was just a little bit slow and a little bit repetitive, and there was just quite a lot of characters to get your head around at the beginning, so it almost made me switch off. But I'm really glad I stuck with it, because actually this is such a good story. It's a really, really good book. And I really want to start sending my books to you, because once I've read a book, it sits in my office and I sometimes give them to friends, but not really many of my friends and family read, and actually not many of them like to read murder mysteries. A lot of them love like non-fiction books, so they just sit there, and then after like a good few months I'll end up taking them to like a charity shop or something like that. But I would love to post my books to one of you. So once I've finished reading a book, I will mention it on my vlogs, and if anyone is watching this and really wants to give this a go, then please comment down below and let me know, and I'll just pick someone at random depending on how many people want to read the book, and I'll get it sent to you, because I think it's such a nice way to just pass on books, and then maybe you will have somebody that you could pass the book on to, and we can just continue passing on the books. So let me know if that's something you would like, and if you are interested in reading this, drop a little comment down below to let me know, and then I'll pick someone at random and we'll sort it out and I'll get it sent to you. So as I said, I'm kind of in like pre-trip prep today. We're actually going skiing tomorrow, so I've got lots I need to do. I need to finish off packing later. I also need to just sort the house out and get it in order. I put the bedding in the wash this morning, so I'm going to hang that up and then remake the bed later, just so that's nice and fresh for when we get back. Yes, I know you're chatting to me. We need to go for a at some point. Jack's just outside finishing off some brickwork that he was doing last weekend. So yeah, lots of random bits and bobs, but I thought I would bring you along with me. This Hoover is literally my favourite thing in the world. It's an industrial Hoover from B&Q, and my mum actually used to have this in our old house because it was just so good for any building work, because it hoovers up water, bricks, rubble, dust, like anything. And so we got one when we first moved in because we were having like plastering done, floor taken up, all sorts of stuff like that. And rather than ruin our cordless Dyson, we got this. But honestly, I only ever use the Dyson really if it's like a quick hoover or if I'm hoovering upstairs, because this is a bit annoying to take upstairs. And I forgot how amazing a corded hoover is. It's just amazing. Like the suction is so good. Sometimes I feel like the older things are so much better. Cordless hoovers, don't get me wrong, they're amazing, but it's constantly running out of battery. It gets filled up so easily. If anyone is watching this and they've got a dog, the hair is everywhere, and I hoover our house every single day because I am just a bit of like, I need everything to be clean and nice. And the Dyson, it's just not up to scratch, and this is the best thing ever. I love it. I can hoover all of the beams. Like when you live in an old house, there are a lot of cobwebs, and especially these beams, they get so dusty. So being able to like hoover all the beams and the walls and like take this off and do the skirting boards, I just love it. For somebody that's obsessed with cleaning like me, this is the best thing ever. I am absolutely obsessed with it. So I need to do a quick hoover round of everywhere, but I'm gonna do it later, I think, because I just know that Jack's going to be in and out and it's going to get more dirty as the day goes on. So I'm going to do that later. Next on my list, I need to finalise a few bits for work that's going out next week. And I know it's a Sunday, but I need to do it today because I'm just not going to have the time tomorrow. So that is also on my agenda. I also want to clear out the fireplace because the ash is just ridiculous, so I need to empty that out, give that a good hoover down. Basically, whenever we go away, I just love coming home to the house feeling so fresh. So I'm gonna put the sofa covers in the wash before we go, and my mum usually pops over whilst we're away just to like collect parcels, put the bin out, stuff like that. So she said she'll put them back on for me, which is so kind of her. So I just know that we're coming home to like a clean, fresh house, fresh bedding. There's just no better feeling, especially after this particular trip, because skiing is just exhausting, and driving back 10 hours of Jack driving is a lot. And I know that we'll come home and he'll just want to like flop into bed and he'll be exhausted. So it's a good feeling. I've just sat down to schedule some bits for next week. So what I usually like to do on a Sunday is just make sure all my bits are prepped for the following week. If I need to get any videos uploaded onto YouTube, if I need to do any like description box, get all the links and everything for the video, thumbnails. I also have a little look through my newsletter plans just to make sure that I've got everything organised for my newsletters for the week. I tend to try and stay ahead as much as possible. It just makes life easier and I'm not then like faffing and rushing to get things done. So usually on a Sunday there will be a point where I sit down. My hair is so knotty at the back from the collar. Can you see that? The collar on this gilet has made my hair so knotty. Yeah, just to make sure I'm ahead and I'm not rushing things and I'm happy with like what content is going out. So I usually like to do that on a Sunday. Also, I'm sat in my office and I'm sat like right next to the fireplace because I've got my reformer machine behind me, and I did have it pushed up against the wall, but I have the last few days really got back into reformer classes, so I've brought it out slightly, and it just means that I can do my reformer classes. I can't really do them if it's right close to the wall because I don't have the movement either side. But I know I've been speaking about The Office loads, and I have a few updates coming in next Monday's vlog, but I'm just so excited to get this room feeling really inspiring and just cozy and like a lovely space to work in. Still absolutely loving using the Kinfill surface spray. I've got literally a tiny bit left. I have actually added some water into it, which obviously dilutes it, but just to keep it going, because I need to order another one because I just love it. It's so good. I also always use these little reusable cloths, and I just chuck them into, well, they're kind of like sponges. I chuck them into the washing machine to clean them, and they come out literally brand new. I just get these from Amazon, just a big pack of them, and they're brilliant. They're really, really good. As I said, we are going away tomorrow, so today is a little bit of a different like setup. Usually I do this kind of thing before the weekend because I like the house to be all clean and lovely for the weekend, which is when we're like at home or hosting or whatever. But today it's happening on a Sunday because I just want the house to be lovely for when we get home. Next thing on my list is to tidy the fireplace, clear out all the ash. I just got these buckets from Amazon, which are really handy just to keep everything in. So this one is for the ash, and we actually put all of the ash in the compost, which is amazing. So we can reuse it, which is fabulous. So I'm going to give this a good clear out. Once that's all done, I can do like a good hoover and clean it all up properly. Done for the day, and I am just, the only thing I need to do is put the bedding back on, but it's currently drying. Why is it so annoying in the winter? Do you know what? I really need to get a heated airer or something like that so that I can dry the bedding quickly. I tend to just put all of the pillowcases onto the radiators because I put them straight back on, but then I have a different set of bedding that I use like in rotation, so all the other bits can just dry overnight and that is fine. But now I'm going to do my second part of my little pre-trip / Sunday reset, and I'm going to take my makeup off. I haven't actually got much on today, but I'm just going to take off what I've got on my skin. My evening skincare, which I feel like I haven't really shown you for a while, it's always the same: cleansing balm and like a foaming cleanser. So the cleansing balm that I'm using at the moment is this one, and honestly this was a bit of a panic purchase from the supermarket. Just before Christmas my usual cleansing balm had run out, so I picked up this Nip and Fab, very random, literally just from the supermarket. It's a ceramide cleansing balm, but I must say I really like it. It's quite a greasy formula, which I'm not really used to, but once you kind of rub it into your skin and then add a little bit of water into your hands, it kind of like emulsifies, and I do feel like it cleans my skin really, really nicely, and it doesn't leave it dry at all. I have used cleansing balms in the past that leave my skin just feeling so dry, and then I always just use a warm face cloth to take that off. And then my second cleanse, which is my gel cleanser, is Youth to the People Kale, Green Tea, Spinach, Vitamins Superfood Cleanser. I've used this for honestly like 2 years and I absolutely love it. I have a mini travel size one that I bring with me when I go away, because this one is like a glass bottle, but it's so good. So that is my face all clean. I feel like my face goes so red once I've cleansed it. Because I like to cleanse my skin like a good few hours before bed, I usually just leave my skin just clear with nothing on it, and then once I've done my LED mask later, I'll use my evening skin products. But yeah, that's pretty much it for skincare. I'm gonna get some loungewear on now because I've been wearing this all day and we've walked Basil and I just don't want to wear jeans anymore. There is literally no better feeling than a clean house, fresh bedding, fresh loungewear, and your skin feeling nice. I also love popping on a little bit of this fragrance once I've like got myself nice and clean and fresh. This is the Byredo Le Tulip fragrance, and I really like it. It's kind of like my evening like loungewear cozy at home scent, and I really like it. There are a lot of new faces on my socials. I don't know if it's come from TikTok or I don't know, but I feel like there's a lot of new faces and I'm getting constant DMs saying that people have just discovered me and they're following me and watching my videos, which is so amazing. And honestly, it makes me so happy to have a community of people that all love the same thing. So I asked on my Instagram if you guys had any questions, if there were things about me that you wanted to know that you didn't know, if you're new. So I thought I would do a little mini Q&A in this video, just super chilled, just whiz through some questions. Alice has asked, tips for moving into your first house. We get the keys in a few weeks. Congratulations, that is so exciting. I would say my tips for when you move in is to try and live in the space as much as possible, especially if you are planning to do like decorating or renovating or whatever. Even if you're just thinking about paint colours that you want to paint, definitely try to live in the space and take your time. I think it feels really easy to just go into a new space and rush and just pick the first paint colour you see and order furniture because you need it. I would say as much as you can, try to really think about your decisions. I also really recommend using Canva or Pinterest or any of those kind of sites to collate a bit of a mood board for each room. It just gives you a really nice clear idea of what kind of furniture you like, what colours, textures, all of that kind of stuff. Also, if you haven't already, do a big declutter. I think it's the perfect time when you move house to really go through your stuff and be brutal. Have you got random things in your like kitchen junk drawer or in your living room that you do not need and you no longer use them? Even if it's like decor items or candles, if you've got like a tiny bit left and you're saving it or whatever, just have a good clear out. So you're going into your new house feeling fresh, light, you haven't got loads of clutter. I think that's a really good place to start. Jill has asked, how did you and Jack meet? Would love to hear your love story. That is such a lovely question. I feel like I have spoken about this a lot, so apologies if you're a regular watcher and you've watched for a while, but we met at an 18th birthday party. I was 17, Jack was 18 in 2015, and I knew of some of his friends, but I didn't know him. I kind of started knowing of him that summer because one of my close friends at the time went to a festival and she was really into Jack's best friend, and I saw a photo on Instagram of said Jack's best friend and Jack, and I was like, oh my god, who is that? He's got a beard. Who is this man? Obviously had no clue who he was, gave him a bit of a stalk on Instagram, and I thought, oh, he looks cool. Never heard of him before, but saw that he was in the same friendship group as a couple of other guys that I knew, because we didn't go to the same school. And then I was at this party and I looked around and I saw him. I was like, oh my God, it's that boy. And I was actually talking to a girl, you know, as you do, you go to the toilets, all the girls are in there, you get a drink, and I was speaking to this girl and I'd never met her, and she said, oh, you look amazing, I love your outfit, just the general stuff that always happens. And then we got chatting and she said, am I single? Do I have a boyfriend? And I said, yep, I'm single. And she said, oh, is there anyone here that you're like into, or like what's the situation? And I was like, no, not really. At the time I was not fussed about having a boyfriend, like it just didn't really faze me. And I was like, oh well, I think he's really good looking. And it was Jack. And she looked at me and was like, no way, oh my God, that's my best friend, we're in the same friendship group. She's like, come on, I'm gonna introduce you. And she was dragging me over and I was like, oh no, I'm so embarrassed, why did I do that? And then we got introduced, and then we ended up chatting and just spent the rest of the party together. And then the next day, one of my friends who knew Jack and his friends messaged me and said, we're all gonna go to Jack's house tomorrow, because it was in the summer. So I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna wake up, wash my hair, do my makeup, like put a nice outfit on. So I did that the next morning after the party, and pretty much since then, so I went to his the next day, and then from then onwards, I saw him all the time because it was the summer holidays and I was still at college. I had just finished my first year at college and he was going to uni, but his university was in London and he did like kind of a few days a week. It was a private kind of like business university. So it worked really well because he wasn't moving really far away. He was still living at home, and I knew that when I went to university in the next couple of years that I wanted to live at home. So it just worked really well, and we just ended up spending loads of time together. So we met on the 15th of August 2015, and then we kind of like officially got together on around like the 20th of November. I think it was his actual birthday, which is the 21st of November. So a few months later we kind of like made it official. But yeah, we were together all the time from those few months. And that was that. Haley asked, are you and Jack engaged? No, we are not engaged. I'm assuming that it's going to happen at some point. I don't know when, and it doesn't really faze me, to be honest. I know a lot of people that have been in relationships for a really long time are like, oh my God, I want to get engaged now, like where's my ring, blah blah blah. But I mean, sometimes I feel like that, but then other times I just think, do you know what? Things just happen when they happen, and I'm very traditional, and I just want Jack to do it as and when he feels the time's right, and there's just no rush. I'm still very young. I'm going to be 27 in a couple of months, but I don't know. I don't feel like a real urgency to have to do everything really quickly. You have so much time in life, and I don't want to kind of like tick all those life boxes really young and then be like, oh, we're 35, what now? I kind of want to just, you know, go with the flow. I'm not too worried. Sarah asked, where do you see yourself in 5 years? That is a big question. In 5 years time, I will be like 32. I know I just said that I don't want to rush things, but I feel like when I'm 32, I will definitely be engaged, married, potentially starting to think about children. Who knows? It kind of just depends, like whenever the things before happen. I 100% want to be a mum, so that's definitely going to be in my future, whatever way. Hopefully I'm lucky enough to have children easily and everything works out, fingers crossed, but you just don't know these things, so it kind of just depends. But I imagine we will definitely still be living in this house. Potentially we would have done some like further renovations, I don't know. Hopefully I will still be making YouTube videos and have the same job. 5 years, it doesn't seem like a long time when you look back 5 years, but a lot can change and a lot can happen. My life is, oh my God, it has gone through so many phases since 5 years ago. I think that 5 years ago I was 21 is just crazy, and so much has happened. So you can kind of have these ideas and plans in your head, but everything changes, you have no idea. Emily asked, oh, I love this question, what other names did you have for Basil? We actually had so many names that we liked, and some of them were kind of weird, some of them were quite traditional and normal. I'll actually get my list up and I'll read you some of them. So the first name that I absolutely loved for such a long time, for years actually, was Murphy. And it's kind of like a very cringy random story, but Jack used to call me that sometimes, like years ago, and I just loved the name. But we didn't call Basil Murphy because one of our friends actually got a Labrador and called it Murphy, so we were like, we cannot do that. We also loved Reggie. I really like old names like Frank, Jeffrey, Nelson, Bernard, Digby. These were all kind of names that we really liked. Percy was another one that I loved. Norman is my absolute favourite. I love that name so much. And then we kind of went down a bit of a weird route. So Branston was another one that I really liked. Mouse, I just love that. I love the idea of having a massive dog called Mouse. Wallace was one that I really loved. Moss was one that we nearly went for. We really loved the name Moss, but I'm glad we didn't. And then there was a couple of other random ones like Pickles and Jaffa. River was another one. Blue I really liked if we had an animal that was grey. And then Domino I loved because we actually loved Dalmatians, and we always used to say that we would love to have a Dalmatian, but once we kind of researched into it, we realised it just wasn't going to be the right fit for us. But Domino would be such a great name for a Dalmatian. So those are some of the dog names, and also we always knew we were going to have a boy dog, so that's why all the names are very like male. Sean has asked, limited wardrobe space, what are your key pieces for spring? So I would say keep it really simple and basics that you can mix and match. So I always reach for shirts and like thinner jumpers, so you can layer them up if it's cold, you can wear them on their own. A good pair of jeans, I think that's a real staple. Anything that's kind of like layerable, I think is a really good key. So something like a blazer or a cropped jacket that you can wear in loads of different ways. You can dress it up, dress it down. Simple basics like t-shirts or tank tops. I think when it comes to clothes, I know what colours I reach for a lot. So if there's a basic, like for example a tank top, I will just get them in the colours that I wear. So a neutral, a white, maybe a black or a navy, and that's kind of it. And then I'll just mix and match those with lots of different things. Hayley has asked, best fashion advice for someone who doesn't know their style. That's a very good question. I would honestly say trial and error. Just try things. I feel like you know what you feel comfy in, and that could be a tracksuit, and it could be like athleisure wear, or that could be more like tailoring and workwear and like blazers and suits and things like that. Find what makes you feel good and create a little board on Pinterest for your personal style. I love doing this, and it's something that I've added to a lot over like the last year. And that could be anything. It could be outfit ideas, it could be certain hairstyles, makeup, accessories. It could be even just like really lovely photos of scenery or houses or anything that's like adding to your general branding as a person. And I feel like that really helps you to narrow down what style you really like. I also think there is something to be said about having your own style and feeling like you're stuck in a box, because I wear such different things depending on my mood. One day I will be wearing leggings and like Pilates kind of outfits all day, and I love that, and I'll wear it with like a tailored coat and a pair of trainers, and I could wear that all week. But then sometimes I'll want to wear something a little bit more like preppy and dressed up, and I'll wear shirts and stuff like that. So I feel like just go with your mood, wear things that you feel comfortable in, you feel confident. There is nothing worse than putting on like say a pair of trousers and they're too tight or they're too big, they don't feel great, you feel a bit rubbish. I just don't see the point in that. I think comfort is key, and when you're comfortable, you then feel more confident. So I definitely would look at those two things. Also, if you're trying to like carve out your own style, I really think it's useful to follow people online that wear things that you really like, even if they style it slightly differently. Think about how you can style that with pieces in your own wardrobe. Don't feel like you need to replace everything. Kind of use Pinterest and Instagram as a way to give yourself more inspiration for styling, and then utilize the bits in your wardrobe. I always just say play dress up. It's one of the best ways to get your spark back with clothes. I do it myself all the time, and sometimes I'll get stuck in a bit of a rut, especially around this time of year. I'm cold, and I just tend to reach for leggings and the same old things and the same jumpers, and I don't put much thought into styling my outfits, which is why I started the series on Instagram, outfits inspired by 90s catalogue, because I love looking at those outfits. So I wanted to challenge myself a little bit outside of my comfort zone and use my clothes to replicate these outfits. And actually, when I did it, I realised that every single outfit I have styled up is firstly something I already wear, maybe just styled slightly differently or a different colour combination, but it opened my eyes so much to other outfits that I wouldn't necessarily think to put together that I love. So be your own stylist. Elise has asked, where are you going skiing? Booking a ski holiday is so complicated. To be honest, I don't know the first thing about skiing, so it's not really up to me. This is the one trip that I just go along. I don't even know. Jack and his brother sort everything out because they are the experts. So I can't be much help, but we are going to Val d'Isère in France. They have been there as a family for years and years and years, probably over 20 years, so they know what they're doing and I don't have a clue. Okay, the final question I'm going to do, because I don't want to bore you, is what's your next bag on the wish list? And to be honest, there aren't really any bags on my wish list. There's nothing that I have seen that I love that I really want to add to my collection. A lot of my money is spent on the house now, on the garden, and I'm just not, I don't know, I don't have that real urge that there's something I really want. There is a bag that I absolutely love for spring, and I think this is going to be like my colour and texture of spring. It's a JW Pye like sandy beige suede bag, and it's in a style that I love. The Demilia New York style of bag is my absolute favourite. I love a top handle. I never wear crossbody bags. I find them quite claustrophobic. I like something I can have in my hand or have in my arm, and it's just easier for me. So I would love this bag. I think it's beautiful. It's also a great price point, and I've really got into more like high street or like lower end designer bags. Actually, I think they are a lot nicer styles. They're a lot less showy and branded, and I just really like them. Demilia is one of my favourites. Pollen also have beautiful bags, but places like And Other Stories, Massimo Dutti, Mango, they have gorgeous things. Anthropology as well. So I feel like this year I'm potentially going to add a couple of bags into my collection, maybe just different styles or colours that are from either lower end designer or high street, because I just don't feel this real urge anymore to buy a bag for £2,000. When I was a lot younger and I lived at home and I didn't have any outgoings and I was earning amazing money from my businesses, I wanted to buy all of these bags. It was exciting to me. It was the first time I'd had like good money to spend, and to be honest, I probably should have saved it, but I bought the bags that I'd always had on my Tumblr and, you know, things like that, and it was amazing and such an incredible achievement, and I will keep them forever and ever and hopefully have a daughter one day that I can hand them down to. But yeah, I just don't have this urge that I want to buy those kind of things anymore. But I'm gonna leave that little Q&A there. I just thought I'd pop it in because there were some really nice questions, and if you are new, I feel like it's quite nice to get to know someone a little bit better. But I'm gonna head downstairs, see what Jack's doing, and ask him if we can have dinner because I'm starving. So tonight's dinner, we are having these pies. I just got these randomly to put in the freezer because I thought they would be quite nice just to have. So we've got pie with mash, carrots and broccoli. So I'm gonna do some roasted carrots, boil the broccoli, well, Jack makes the mash, he does a good mash, and then these can just go in.
That's the mash.
And that's it. And obviously some gravy as well. smashed